Hey, my name is Ashley and I'm here today to review this beautiful Savannah topper from Uniwigs. Uniwigs sent this to me in exchange for an honest review, and let's just talk about that for a second before I move on. Uniwigs sent this to me in exchange for an honest review. No strings attached, nothing I had to say. This is the second time they've done this year, and well, in the last calendar year, and I have to say that I find that really remarkable. It tells you that they stand behind their brand, behind their products, they're willing to be vulnerable. We love that. So thank you, Uniwigs, for trying to bring affordable hair pieces to women and men around the world. Okay, let's jump into this. I was really excited to try the Savannah, and the cool thing about Uniwigs is that they have given me the choice to try on whatever I want. And I really wanted to try Savannah because she was new, but also because she is a very similar style to what I wear every day to work as a teacher. So I was like, sign me up. I want to see what your silk top 9x9 looks like, feels like, all that jazz. So they sent me a 9x9 Savannah topper. This is in mousse brown, 16 inches long. Now I'm going to tell you something about Uniwigs. They never err on the side of short when they give you a length. So my first piece was the Courtney 18 inch. It was more like almost 20 inches. This one is a 16 inch. It is longer than every other 16 inch I've ever owned. So know that when you're ordering from Uniwigs, it's going to tend to be on the longer side, which is not a bad thing. So this piece is mousse brown. We'll talk about the color, the cap, the length, the hair itself. We're going to talk about all that stuff. So let's just start by talking about the color. The mousse brown color, if you are a mid brown, is fantastic. Here's why. Dimension. So there's a lot of highlighting and dimension in here, which may not be something that you gravitate towards, especially if your bio hair doesn't have that natural dimension or you don't dye your bio hair. But here's why it's great for a topper. If you have medium brown hair and your topper doesn't match your bio hair exactly, it can become obvious. Same thing if you're blonde or any color, right? You want that color match to be the same. So you either have to take your topper to get it dyed or you have to dye your bio hair to match. If you get something with dimension, whether it's a dimensional blonde or whether it's a dimensional brown like this one for me, excuse me, then you can more likely guarantee that your hair is going to blend through without a whole lot of obviousness, right? So take a look here. My bio hair is here and it blends in reasonably well because of the dimension of the topper. So that's the mousse brown that I've selected. It leans warm for sure. My natural hair is very, very ashy with some gray in there because I'm getting old. But you can see that it does a pretty good job of camouflaging it. So I really recommend, especially if you're starting out and you don't want to dye your pieces or you don't want to dye your hair, go with something that is dimensional. Okay, so that's the color. The cut. I thought that this was included, and upon further investigation, I don't think it is. You can add a face framing cut to your piece. Now, if you don't have a stylist who is comfortable working on toppers, you're brand new to hair toppers, I actually recommend this because the cut that they gave this piece to me is just like universally flattering, first of all. So we've got this nice face framing stuff going on, but also because they've cut in some layers, if your bio hair isn't exactly the right length for your topper, you won't be able to tell because you've got those varied layers inside the piece already. So something to think about. Consider getting that cut. And they're not telling me to tell you that. That's just me telling you from experience. It's definitely helpful. It hides your bio hair. Also, bio hair, you want to order a piece that is ideally about an inch longer than your bio hair is. So keep that in mind. You want your regular hair to be a little bit shorter than the topper. You don't want your own hair to be sticking out below because that texture is going to be obvious, that textural difference. Okay, so that's color. We talked cut. Let's talk cap. What size of cap do you get? So if you're new to toppers, you might just be seeing there's a whole range, right? You can go from anything like a 4.5 all the way up to a 10x10, and you're wondering what size should I get? Should I just go with the cheapest? It really has to do more with the amount of hair loss and your personal preference. So for me, I say big is better when it comes to cap sizes, and here's why. 2 reasons really. One, for me, more comfortable. So the bigger the cap, the more comfortable is because I have a lot of diffuse thinning, particularly at the top. So this part of my head is the sort of weakest in terms of the amount of hair that I have. The hair up here is a little bit more brittle. My scalp is more sensitive. So I wouldn't want to be clipping right onto here, right? So the 9x9 for me hits about here, the clips. So that's going to give me, first of all, more hair to latch onto. Secondly, it doesn't tug as much throughout the day. It just sits over the top of my head. So more comfortable for sure if I go for a 9x9 or bigger. So that's for me, number one reason. Number two reason is that I feel they sit flatter on your head when you go with those bigger cap sizes. So think about this for a second. You've got a silk top, which I haven't even talked about yet. That's a whole other, we got to come back to that. Hang on. So the silk top is basically a piece of silk, and then you have the hair on top of that, right? So you're going to create a pretty bulky finish. Now, Uniwigs did a great job of creating a thin silk top. Like, I don't know what kind of magic they're doing, but it's amazing. It's sitting flush to my head anyway, but the part that makes it sit the most flush is having a bigger cap, because it's pulling the cap down this way. If my cap is sitting here, it might be a little bit more bulgy. So a bigger cap means a better fit for me. So not just more comfortable, but you can see there's almost no distance here. It's sitting flush to my head, which is usually the most common complaint of silk top pieces, wigs, and toppers, is that they're bulkier. This is not bulky, my friends. I'm telling you, this is sitting flat to my head. In fact, it doesn't even look like an overwhelming amount of hair. And I think it's because it's sitting so flush. So now let's talk about the bulkiness of this piece. The density is pretty normal, I would say. I wouldn't call this super low density. I would call this a really normal type of density of hair. So you're not going to feel like, especially if you're a newbie to alternative hair, you're not going to feel like it's so much hair that you can't manage it. But if you have very little bio hair like I do, it's enough to cover it, which brings me to another reason for having a larger cap. Larger cap usually means more hair, and it means that your bio hair is going to be covered up a little bit more. If you have sparse amounts of bio hair, you're going to want that coverage, because you're not going to want to see the difference between the topper and the bio hair. So I'll do a quick turnaround so you can see exactly how much density we're talking about. So that's the one side. And there's the other side, and then the back. So I do feel like this is a really good amount of density. I would say it's more dense than the Courtney piece, the mono top that I've reviewed in the past. I wouldn't hesitate to use this as my everyday piece without like worrying about how much of my bio hair is showing through if the wind blows. Like, I really think it is a very good, reasonable amount of density. Okay, so we've talked color, we've talked cut, we've talked cap. I'm going to show you the cap construction as well in a minute. But let's talk about cap in terms of why a silk top is good. So cons are usually, people say, one, difficult to blend with your own hair, but I have blending videos out there, and I will continue to put up new ones as I improve my blending techniques. So you need a bit of a front hairline in order to do the blend, but you can totally cheat it by making a side part, as I have done here. Side part makes such a difference. So don't be afraid of that side part, even if it's not seen as trendy anymore. It definitely helps to hide a weaker hairline. So I'm sticking to the side part most of the time because of that. But the other thing about silk tops that people don't like is the bulkiness. And as I already addressed, it's not really an issue here. So let's talk about the pros. The pros of the silk top, and this is a big one, if someone looks down at the top of your head, which most people aren't doing, except that I am pretty short, and most people do look down on the top of my head. Like, I'm a high school teacher, and all of those teenage boys are looking down on me all day when I'm walking through the hallways. When they look down, it looks like a scalp. I mean, I don't care if they know that I wear fake hair anyway, but it looks like a scalp. So I'm going to show you. Can you see that? Silk top is the most realistic looking top that there is. So Uniwigs, good job with your silk top. It looks realistic. I very much like it. And then in terms of the actual texture of the hair, now it has to go through a wash and dry. And I've had some criticism before about, you know, whether the hair holds up after a wash. And I have a whole video about that on how to maintain the hair from Uniwigs. It just takes a little bit more understanding. Once you've got that down, you're good, especially if you're looking for affordability, which they will offer you. But I'm going to tell you straight out of the box, this hair, like, I don't know, the quality really looks there. I'm not seeing any broken ends. Maybe I can do a really big close up here. It's an awkward face. But I don't see any broken ends. When I brushed it through, nothing fell out. So I'm not saying that this is the best hair on the market. I'm not going to make that claim, but I'm going to say right now, this is looking really, really good to me. Would I put my own money into this? As of right now, and I still have to wash it, I'm saying yes. Would I wear this every day? Yes. Without hesitation, I would wear this. In fact, I plan to wear this to work after I do a full year to work in my most recent highline so that I can do a review of that one. But I'm going to be wearing this for sure this spring to work. So keep that in mind as well. Like, this is something that I stand behind at this moment to wear as my everyday go-to piece. Comfort, totally there as well. Like, the density is enough, as I said, but it's still comfortable. It's not pulling, it's not tugging, it's light. I feel like I could do things in this. There's a lot of nice movement in it. It's really good. Okay, so I'm gonna take it off now. I'm gonna show you the inside of the cap and then we'll wrap it up. I almost went to put on another piece so I could show you the inside of the cap. And then I realized, since when am I camera shy? Just kidding, I've always been really camera shy, but I'm gonna show you the inside of this piece. So that's the silk top part that I'm talking about. And that means that you can part anywhere from here to here without it being obvious from the top of your head. So that's like quite a deep side part on either side, or you can do a center part. And so that's the thing that makes it from the other side look like a natural scalp. So you can see that there, right? So if you're looking down at someone's head, you would never know. And then what gives it the movability, look at how pretty that is. Gosh, when you look at the movability of it, these wefts here, they are stretchy, so they're gonna fit right over your head, right? And they're what hold on to the extra hair and bring down the cost. Because if you did silk top all the way around, it would be super expensive, and it also wouldn't fit on your head well because it would be too stiff. So you've got all this wefting and then tons of clips, the comb in the front, which you can remove if you don't love it, or you can keep it, and then the clips all the way around, and that's it. That's it. Let's put her back in for one final look. I'm not going to clip all the clips right now. Throw it back on for one final look. Uniwigs. You nailed it. Savannah. Holy cow. Thank you for bringing affordable hair to all of us. This is just, you hit it out of the park.